Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be Nurgle, led by Mr. Adler, facing off against the Warriors of Chaos, who shall be helmed by Potatoes Devil, here on the Whirling Maelstrom, and it is going to be Tamarcon on the Toad Dragon, one of my favorite picks in the entire game, and honestly, against factions that don't have insane shooting, he's pretty viable. Huge HP pool, very good fighter, has some nice buffs and self-defense abilities, and he gets the job done. So this is kind of a old school build here for Mr. Adler, using the Chaos Warriors of Nurgle, so the Great Weapon Armor check, which honestly, in the current meta, isn't too bad. Chaos players or anybody who has access to Forsaken tends to spam them. Inticity made them very popular, and they're very quick and good at playing objectives. And honestly, Chaos Warriors with Great Weapons will beat the brakes off them. It'll be a very one-sided fight. So we do have Plague Toads and Great Weapons. So really, this army is just like there for born and bred for one purpose, and that's killing armored infantry. Tamarcon here, gonna have all his abilities, and we do also see the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle with the healing and the Stream of Corruption. Now for the army here of the Great Potatoes Devil, very solid tournament player as well. Frontline of Forsaken, backed up by the Chaos Trolls and the Weird Spawn. So the Forsaken are one thing that are going to have a terrible time fighting against the Chaos Warriors. So he's going to want to maneuver them and play the objectives and then get the armored Chaos Trolls on top of the Great Weapon Warriors. The Chaos Warriors are pretty hard countered by Chaos Trolls, and honestly Weird Spawn will do very well against them as well. Caster is going to be a Searing Doom caster with Plague of Rust as well, which is pretty synergistic with some of the Weird Spawn and Forsaken. Chaos Warriors, their armor will mitigate a lot of the damage, but if you overcast a Plague of Rust on a Chaos Warrior, put him down to 40 armor, and then charge them with the Forsaken, it's going to be a much better fight for these mutated boys down here. So they're going to be sprinting up, going for the objectives. A couple Bile Trolls heading on over towards Objective Dose right there, and they are going to be grabbing that. Meanwhile, Nurgle going to be getting its clutches on Objective 1 here. Tamarcon waits in the wings, and the battle is soon to be underway. We do not see the Hell Cannon from Chaos, so very, very common here. Maybe worried about Nurgle Furies, but you can protect it. If you have Hellstriders with the whips, you can kind of keep them nearby, and they'll be able to fend off Furies off the Hell Cannon. So, alright, Armored Trolls are there. Low ground objective going to be taken by a couple Marauder Horsemen, which I didn't notice, but very good choice. You could use Throwing Axes or Javelins in this matchup. Honestly, both are viable. It just really depends on what you're trying to deal with. If you're worried about, some of the bigger threats like the Toads and the Demons, and the Javelins are better. Throwing Axe is a little bit more of a general safe pick, I would say. Because Nurgle does have a lot of armor, and usually Throwing Axes are good against that. Alright, Tamarcon is here. He's going to be cruising, looking extra epic on the Giant Toad Dragon, which I think is probably one of my favorite monsters in the game. It's going to be lurking away, as Chaos does get its clutches on objective number 2 and 1. So Nurgle is going to be forced forward here, and I like this from Potatoes Devil. Keeping a couple Forsaken up here is going to force Nurgle to defend this, and even if you don't fight, you could just, it's the implications. You sit up there on the hill, and they're going to have to leave something that is capable of defeating a Forsaken unit. Honestly, the right play would probably to leave one Chaos Warrior Great Weapon down there to ward them off, because that would be enough to maybe scare off the Forsaken. We'll have to see. So Nurgle's going for it, and they are going to be sending the Rotting Riders up. Okay, very cool. So going very elite Nurgle here. Middle objective is soon going to be flipping to Nurgle unless Chaos decides to commit, and it looks like they're going to be pulling back all their Monstrous Infantry, as the Toad Dragon does actually throw up on some Forsaken. Not bad, suffocating, negative melee attack, and it drains some Vigor too, which is kind of cool. So let's see if it actually takes them down a Vigor threshold. It's going to last another, it actually lasts a long time, so it's going to be draining about 20% Vigor. Okay, we'll check back in a minute. Now, Mass Horsemen, going into the Great Weapons, these are Javelin variants, so they won't do much damage against armor. Now, had those been Throwing Axes, would have been a lot more damage against these guys. Vigor on these, they're still, they're active now, so it took them from fresh down to active. Some good water right there. Stay hydrated, my friends. Side objective does get flipped. A little bit of a blunder from Nurgle, in my opinion. They didn't need to abandon that. They could have just left a Great Weapon over there and, maybe like a single Toad and kept him honest. But here we see Great Weapons moving up, trying to close the distance with these bad boys. And we do have a big fight going down in the middle as Tamarcon is afflicted by Plague of Rust and the Rock of Inevitability, which is going to be massively lowering his stats. But Nurgle's favored son is activated, and the Troll Toll is now on. Stream of Corruption doesn't do good damage against Monstrous Infantry, and it does look like Sartorial the Everwatcher thinking about moving in there, as he does drop a big old Searing Doom and does do some nice damage against the Plague Toads. Fury's coming overhead, going to be moving in to do some glorious battle. Forsaken against Warriors, and the Forsaken did take the point, and looks like they're going to be flanking. So big mosh pit fight here. Rotting Riders, though, afflicted by some nasty debuffs. Slushy Abundance going to be trying to top those guys off. The Rotting Riders will give Nurgle some decent tools against big targets. They can definitely fight against trolls and spawn and things like that, but at the end of the day, they're, in a one-on-one fight, yes, I'll win, but they'll take some damage back. Trolls do hit hard, but I think the big monsters presence of Tamarcon is going to be the variable that changes this fight. to make it a little bit favored for Nurgle. He is a world beater of a fighter, and I believe he does he have the AoE debuff? Not the Feast, but the Rotting Host. This one lowers leadership and also lowers stats a little bit as well, so certainly not bad. Rotting Riders going to pull back, go after Forsaken, and yes, they are an anti-large cav unit, but they still have pretty good melee attack at 44. Can definitely handle a Forsaken unit, and if you rear charge with the Hounds here, that'd be a really nice play, rear charging one of these guys. And now we do have a big monster fight underway. Tamarcon is going to be battling against the Demon of Tzeentch, and yeah, battle as old as time. Nurgle and Tzeentch going at it. Sartorial running away, Tamarcon looking pretty healthy. The blob fight here continues on, and it looks like maybe slightly favored for Nurgle, as the Trolls are getting a little bit worn down. The Chaos Warriors with the Grey Weapons are doing quite good. Toads are still fighting, and Rotting Riders are still nearby. And they're going to be charging into the Blood Beast, which is going to be very nice. So the Rotting Riders will be able to tear apart the Chaos Haram base pretty well. These guys, of course, are large entities, and the Rotting Riders with their bonus versus large are going to get the job done. So as it currently stands, Nurgle is certainly cackling a bit. You know, they invested more in the frontline fight, and we have a ton of money invested in the mobility game here for the Warriors of Chaos. And it looks like a couple of Furies and Warhounds were able to mitigate the effectiveness of the Horsemen during that big fight. Like, if the Horsemen had been there during the fight, they probably could have killed the Toads, put some pressure on Tamarcon when he was afflicted by Plague of Rust. A couple other things like that. Now, Warriors of Chaos do have the double objective. They have Objective 1, they have Objective 3 as well, so the game is certainly not over. Rotting Riders going to be surging back here, as we do see some Chaos Trolls coming in. Plague of Rust activated on the Rotting Riders. Going to put them down to 36 armor, which means the Horsemen, you know, if they have Fire at Will on, should be able to L-boink them. And also some of the Warhounds will be able to chew through them much more effectively. Although Fecundity is active, Forsaken coming in, Sartorial also pressuring, more Nurgle Furies going to be in the backfield. And look at these Trolls, man. Weird Spawn's still going. One model left, and the Bile Trolls do have 14 models. Looks like they're going to be retreating to the low ground point. So now the Warriors of Chaos looks like they're going to be giving up on the blob fight, and which is always kind of a mistake to take a blob fight against Nurgle, unless you have like a Mortis and they don't, for example. But on Objective 1 and Objective 3, maybe some Hellstrider support is going to be able to turn the tide of the fight. Actually, I don't think we've seen too many Hellstriders from this Chaos player. Mainly using the Haram base. But Hellstriders against Nurgle are decent. The Whip version is probably the way to go. The anti-large, Nurgle doesn't really present a ton of threatening anti-large that your Javelins can't handle, but the Hellscourges of Slaanesh will dominate the Furies, and they're also going to be able to deal with mobility, play the objectives, and deal with light infantry and light demons as well. They're just a very, very good piece. So the mobility is going to be rotating down here. Bile Trolls are healing. Value is only 1,000 apart, and both sides do have some healing. Bile Trolls, of course, going to be healing here. Nurgle is going to be a little bit more healing heavy, as they do look to be securing a triple cap here. The Chaos Warriors moving up. Pestigore is going to be heading up towards the middle objective as well. And Tamarcon is going to be moving in to try and fight and push these guys back. And honestly, he could probably handle all these units. He is an absolute unit of a character. He is a big old boy. Down in the low ground, Warriors of Chaos still holding on. They've got their clutches on it. And we do see some Gorby's Chariots coming out. I don't hate that. I mean, Gorby's Chariots against the Great Open Warriors, good against Furies, good against, Hounds, things like that. Most of the Nurgle army is something that they're good against. So kind of an interesting choice. Furies keep chasing here. Horsemen getting harried pretty hard. Probably going to want some Trolls to come over. But it looks like the Trolls going to be committing to this fight. Now, Bile Trolls, could they take both these units? The Plague Toad and the Chaos Warrior. It's a tall order. Probably not. I think that the Nurgle forces there will most likely win the fight. As the Furies have been really menacing this game. Mr. Adler has been doing a great job chasing with those guys. More Furies coming in, and the Pestigore is cutting off the retreat of those units. It's going to be very tough. We do see in the middle, there is going to be some Witchcraft going down, Rock of Inevitability, and some Curses, and Searing Doom also activated. But it looks like Tamarcon and company are able to steamroll this position. I really don't see too many comeback options for the Warriors of Chaos right now. It looks like Nurgle just is straight up in a commanding position and is going to be wrestling this low ground point. We'll go a little bit longer before we start fast forwarding, see if maybe there's something. So Bile Trolls crumping. These horsemen do get harried and run down. The other horsemen in bad shape as well. Tamarcon able to go balls deep here with his dreaded Toe Dragon, getting the work done. As the Gorby's Chariot's going to be circling into the Pestigores and doing decent damage, but you have to really cycle charge with those. And okay, maybe there's something cooking here for the Warriors of Chaos. We do see Rotting Riders coming out. This is an opportunity where you could see a big blunder, potentially from Nurgle. If they get Tamarcon surrounded by the traitorous Rotting Riders, that could be some big work, and he could potentially be dragged down. I mean, he's not a great anti-large fighter. He's okay, but certainly more designed against infantry. All right, so Plague of Rust is activated. Potatoes Devil is going to be coming back in and pushing. We do see Tamarcon starting to hemorrhage a lot of HP as he's being attacked by a giant chicken. And Gorby's Chariot's going to be charging into Chaos Warriors. Definitely need to get the Toads on top of them. Good response from Mr. Adler. It's going to be doing that. Low ground, extremely dominant for Nurgle, so this is really all the marbles right here. Like, Tamarcon needs to get punished really badly here. Pestigore is slowly getting worn down. The Chaos Trolls and the Hounds and the Forsaken will be able to grind them down. And Tamarcon's kind of getting whooped on a little bit. Okay, that's a potential opportunity here for Potatoes, as he does pull some value back here in the game. Rotting Riders moving in, and Rotting Riders will be able to dispatch these Plague Toads very easily. They're very well designed to deal with such things. Searing Doom going to be activated as well. On the backside, more Pestigores coming in, Forsaken, and also Chaos Trolls. Pestigores do get wrecked by Forsaken in a straight-up fight. I mean, it's not the worst fight in the world, but they will lose, in my experience. The charge bonus and the shock damage against the 25 armor is very, very painful. So Tamarcon does get away and is using his Toad tongue to chase after the Gore Beasts. Gore Beasts are not cheap. They're like an 1100 gold cav unit. I think Gore Beasts are kind of bad, personally. Like, when you look at that price point and see what other factions can get for that money, there's just, and even on the Warriors of Chaos roster, there's just superior choices to the Haggard Gore Beast Chariot. You know, chariots are kind of weird. Some of them, a lot of the hybrid chariots are good, like the Kislev ones, and of course the Empire War Wagons are also very much a staple. But the Rotting Riders in the middle, ripping it up, and a little bit struggling versus Chaos Warriors. Chaos Warriors hit very hard against armor. A good generalist unit, but Rotting Riders looks like they're able to get past these guys because of the fact that they're tired and very, very beat up. And now, Wok going to be battling it out in the middle, ripping through the Furies. So we do see Sarthoriel, the Everwatcher, going after the Chaos Horserer and getting a break on that unit would be very, very strong. Rotting Riders basically just need to avoid the Chaos Warriors. You want to get the Chaos Trolls on top of the Warriors and then the Rotting Riders on top of Tamarcon. Black Cleaver, very cool. Going to be giving him a damage buff and magical attacks. But it looks like Tammy's going to be committing to the fight here. So he is going to be moving in. And this is kind of the last hoorah of Chaos for sure. But, you know, they could pull something big out here. I mean, if Tamarcon gets routed and killed, they are running out of time being triple capped like this by Nurgle, but, you know, stranger things have happened. On the other side, the Gore Beast Chariot, how much value do we got? It's making me eat my words a little bit, about 800 value, so not bad. It's backed up by Forsaken and Forsaken here, going after those bad boys. Searing Doom activated in the middle. Tamarcon going to be at 6,000 HP as Marauder Horsemen do come in. And the Rotting Riders, what kind of value are we looking at? About 2,000 so far. Very, very nice. The Furies have been so aggressive this game, chasing down the various Horseman units. And the Chicken does get punted away by Tamarcon, sent straight up to KFC right there. And Rotting Riders, how are we looking? Surrounding, but not quite able to get through Tamarcon. This objective going to be going to the Dark Gods, although, you know, undivided Dark Gods. Maybe Tzeentch, considering Sarthoriel's leading the army. Although we got Nurgle here too. Rotting Riders doing great, honestly, dragging Tamarcon down a little bit, fighting against the Plague Toads. Really nice comeback by Potatoes. I mean, he was kind of looking like we were just going to call it a day, and he was done for, but he's scrapping it out. He managed to steal an objective on the side, and now he's threatening again. Really needs some Hellstriders to deal with these Dogs and Furies, though. Those things have been just causing him huge grief, basically mitigating the effectiveness of his horsemen super hard. The Toad Dragon is a little bit low, 4,000 HP, battling against Sarthoriel the Everwatcher. Chaos Warriors of Nurgle putting in a ton of work, and you can see how they're just straight up grinding down an elite cab unit. I love armored Chaos Warrior great weapons in cab matchups. Any matchup in which you're expecting, like against Bretonnia, I love going 4 or 5 Chaos Warriors with great weapons and just marching at your opponent, because they do so well against cab too in sustained fighting. Big pit fight going down here. Sarthoriel going to be dropping what appears to be a Searing Doom on these Warriors. It's a good cast right there. 3,000 HP, 3,600. Tamarcon is a bit of a better fighter than Sarthoriel. He just hits a lot harder. You can see when the poison is active, Sarthoriel only 376, and Tammy is still 553. Really nice Stream of Corruption there. Going to be tickling all those guys. Their Javelins are doing great work against Tamarcon. And the Warriors of Chaos are getting their Forsaken rotating. And could we see a comeback? Oh, Rotting Riders are here. Granted, they won't be amazing against all the infantry. And if Tamarcon does go down here, we still have Rotting Riders for the Warriors of Chaos and for Potatoes Devil. So Tamarcon going to be sitting at 800 HP. What a beautiful comeback, though. Great game from both players. Really, really fun. Rotting Riders get in, hammer some Forsaken down. Tamarcon is going to get the feast. Oh, please give us the feast. It almost never gets used. All right, you can see the Chicken trying to run. Oh, but Tamarcon, does it proc? I believe it did, and it is draining a lot of HP off the Chicken. Yeah, look at that. Holy shit. Tamarcon actually did it. You almost never get to see that ability in play, but it heals him, and it does an AoE drain. So Sarthoriel got brought to death's bed by Tamarcon, but then he does go down, and the Parasite of Nurgle is going to have to find another home. But now, classic Nurgle game, going to be going for a back objective cap. Isn't that crazy how this went from a game that we looked like we were going to be fast-forwarding it and calling it a day to, like, Chaos has a very decent chance of winning. Harambe's on their way in here. Nurglings are going to be needed. Furies are also on the cards. Rotting Riders going to go and try and ninja the high ground point. And Chaos is going to need to do something real quick here, guys, because they only have, 100. They got a minute and a half, give or take, minute 40 seconds. So that's not a whole lot of time. So where are they going to go? High ground point. They're moving their army up here, but they're going to need to send a lot of units down this way as well. Sartorial being beat up pretty damn big, but I just straight up think Homie doesn't have enough time. He's kind of torn between a rock and a hard place here. We do see Curse of the Slug activated, Forsaken heading to the high ground point. Everybody else heading down here. Searing Doom from Sartorial is going to be quite nice. And there's not a lot of capture weight here for Nurgle. It's really just the Sorcerer and the Pestigores. So if you can get, you know, a handful of units and some Forsaken down there, maybe. But over here, it's a dodgy situation. They're heading across. Currently, it's going to be 4 capture weight plus maybe 1 or 2 here, so 5 capture weight. The Horsemen are almost going to slow it down. Moving on to the point, being harried off by the Rotting Riders. You can't afford to lose that. These Forsaken need to get on the point immediately. And as we head down to the low point here, we do see the Rotting Riders. The remnants of them fighting for the point. We got 50 seconds left. Nurgle, what do they have, man? They got some Pesties coming across. That's going to be some very nice capture weight. But the Rotting Riders and the Blood Beast, the Harambes, should do some great damage. And it looks like the Warriors of Chaos do secure their high ground point. Rotting Riders fighting, but it's going to take them a while to get through 2 infantry units. So probably Chaos is going to be relatively secure over there. And meanwhile, Nurgle trying to hold on to it. Their Pestigores do arrive, but being hammered by Blood Beast, pretty rough for them, and also Greater Demon. Going to be landing on their face. We got about 20 seconds left here, and does Nurgle have anything else they can get here? Some Marauder Horsemen, something? I don't know, man. It's looking real dodgy. I think they're still going to get it. Man, I don't know. He's got a lot of capture weight here, and Hound units. Oh my god, what a freaking close match. Look at this, 7. Oh, we got 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, is he going to get it? Oh my god, and Nurgle wins by 1 second. Holy shit, that was a game. I thought that was over. What a good, you know, surprise comeback there by Chaos, because he was looking really rough there for a while. How'd the Gore Beast do? Yeah, it did okay. 1,200 paid for itself. So hey, you know, made me eat my words a little bit. Still don't like them, but that's just my personal preference. Yeah, so the Chaos player had a cool army. I mean, I think with if he had a couple of Hellscourge Hellstriders, it would have been a way easier game for him, because he could have dealt with the Nurgle diving. He didn't really have anything to stop Nurgle's Furies from just chasing his horsemen and chasing them off the map, and that would have been pretty helpful. But aside from that, really, really fun match. Holy shit. Tamarcon actually able to get the feast and do a ton of damage against the chicken. That was very fun to see. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. Well played to these players, Mr. Adler and Potatoes. And we'll see you all on the other side.